Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Fierce Reflex Skulltech sparring gloves. So stay tuned. Hey guys, Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review of the Fierce Reflex sparring gloves, which are powered by Skulltech. I got mine in the white and black colorway. 14 ounces. It is a lace-up only model. You can also get this in 10 ounces with one additional colorway in black. It's made of full genuine leather throughout the entire glove with a Tricot liner on the inside of the hand compartment and utilizes layered foam padding which incorporates Skulltech gel technology over the knuckles. Now, for those of you that may or may not be familiar with Skulltech, I did a review on the Skulltech gel pads several years ago. And essentially what Skulltech is a brand that makes this gel pad or gel knuckle pad that you can use in your hand wraps to give yourself even more protection and shock absorption. I found that Skulltechs are probably some of the best when it comes to absorbing shock. A lot of people are a fan of Skulltech, and when you would get the pads, you would oftentimes use some scissors to trim the gel pad. That way it would fit right over your knuckle right before you would wrap your hands, and people really enjoy using them, especially for those of you that are using them for gloves that may not have the best type of protection in terms of foam, more of like a puncher, softer style glove that you love to use, but you need a little bit extra protection over your knuckles. And oftentimes people would use the Skulltechs in their hand wraps to give them that supplemental protection. And now Fierce Reflex has partnered with Skulltech and essentially integrated that gel padding into the gloves. Now, where the positioning of the gel pad is in this glove, I'm not sure. My best assumption is that it's probably sandwiched and layered in between an open and closed cell type foam, whether that's a latex or an EVA type of foam on the inside. The only way for me to find out is to actually cut the gloves open and see. But essentially, that's where they probably integrated, my best guess, is into the glove, which is actually a really good idea if you think about it. There's a lot of gloves out there that I've reviewed on, that I've done reviews on in the past, that have gel padding, namely the Title boxing gloves. I've done like the Title Gel World V2T gloves, and the drawback I found with those gloves, while they offer excellent shock absorption and protection, is they oftentimes add a lot of weight to the glove because of that gel padding. So that was one thing I was concerned with when I first got these gloves, is that they would be extremely heavy because of that gel padding from Skulltech, and that's certainly not the case, and we'll discuss that here in a second when it comes to the quality of the glove. Now, from a design standpoint, it's a pretty clean looking glove, very basic. The shape of the glove kind of reminds me, which I'm not a fan of, it reminds me of one of those really just kind of like the entry to mid-tier level Pakistan made gloves. These gloves are manufactured in Pakistan, by the way. And the same thing with the actual leather itself. It reminds me of your standard Pakistan leather. Nothing crazy, nothing that would really, make you say, oh wow, that's even a higher grade of quality. Certainly not like on the level of like Top Boxer, to use as an example. This to me is again more of like a entry level to mid-tier type of glove when it comes to the type of leather and just the overall shape. It has kind of that generic Pakistan shape when it comes to the glove. You do have the Fierce Reflex logo on the back that says Fierce Reflex in black on the back of the glove. The leather on here has kind of a satin finish to it with a little bit of texture. You do have a leather attached thumb at the very tip of the thumb right there. One good thing about this glove is they put an emphasis on wrist support. So the back of the wrist, you're looking at, I'd say about an inch to an inch and a half of padding on the back of the flat cuff right there. It feels like a firmer foam against your skin on the inside, and on the exterior of the wrist support, it's a more softer plush foam. You can say that it says powered by Skulltech written in black, and it is a segmented cuff horizontally. You have a smaller portion horizontally up top right here with some padding, and then you have a thicker portion at the bottom. Kind of reminds me of Winning, where it has the two segmented, the lower one being taller and the one up top being a little bit shorter, with that piece across right there. So about an inch and a half, and you're looking at about maybe an inch of padding on the inside of the wrist that goes all the way up on both sides to where the stitching ends. So you can see they definitely put an emphasis on wrist support, which I'm a big fan of. It does say 14 ounces right here at the very bottom of the wrist. You also have round laces with plastic tips at the end. I find that these laces are too short. It would have been nicer if they had longer laces. Even with the laces pulled all the way through and cinched up, I feel like they're a little bit short. And you should be able to get at least one more revolution around the wrist to really lock it in. So it would be nice if they had longer laces. You do have a smooth Tricot liner on the inside of the hand compartment, which is really nice. Nice and smooth. You don't have any issues with the material bunching up on the inside. Black piping at the bottom of the glove that comes up all the way through the palm opening. So you do have that black piping. White piping at the base of the thumb. No ventilated holes whatsoever on the inside or below or above the grip bar. And the grip bar is a good size, and I'd say it's about medium in density in terms of the firmness of the grip bar right there. So there you have it. And show you the gloves next to each other in terms of symmetry. For a 14-ounce glove, I'd say that these are medium in profile. They're not overly huge, nor are they too small. They're right there in the middle. Quality-wise, these gloves are okay. I think the biggest issue I have with these gloves is going to be the stitching. There's certain areas of the glove where you can see that the quality of the stitching can definitely be improved. You can see they're down here at the bottom, right where the piping is at. It's just really crooked. Kind of like when they went off track. There's one part right here where it just kind of like drops down with the stitching. The other thing I noticed about this glove when I first got them is that the leather, the more I looked at it, the leather has like these little nicks on it. These, you know, almost like these little imperfections throughout the leather. Like it was sitting on a shelf or some kind of container and it kind of dinged up the leather when I first got it. And I don't know if you can capture it on the video, but there are a little bit of imperfections on the glove when it comes to the leather. But I'd say the big concern here to me would probably be just the little areas of stitching, namely at the bottom of the cuff right there. Weight-wise, these gloves were a little bit underweight. I'd say 13.4 if I can recall. 13.4 ounces for the left glove and 13.7 for the right. They're both advertised as a 14-ounce glove. Not too far off from weight. They're both training gloves, sparring gloves, should I say. So the weight was not a huge concern for me as far as being, you know, very accurate. It's very rare that you find training sparring gloves that are exactly on point with weight. So a little bit underweight, but not something I'm too concerned with this glove. The other thing that I noticed with these gloves is going to be the logo and the stitching. I guess you could say just the logo placement. The left glove is crooked. So when you see Fierce Reflex, I don't know if you can capture it, but it kind of slopes upwards this way with the logo. Okay, so it kind of has a little bit of a slope. If you look at this line right here where the cuff is at, you'll notice that this is a little bit crooked. With the right glove, it's straighter. It's more straight, where the left glove isn't. The other thing you'll also notice is where the weight is on where it says 14 ounces. So you'll notice right there that the left glove is lower than the right. So you can see how much that the right glove is actually higher. So when I put the gloves next to each other, you'll see that the 14 ounce is higher with that. And the other thing you'll also notice is the stitch pattern on the gloves are a little bit off as well. Now, when you look at the left glove, it has a slight slope to it. Again, hopefully I can capture on the camera where it has a little bit of an angle with the stitching. With the right glove, it's pretty much straight. And again, I'll put them next to each other, and I don't know if the camera will really capture it, but the left glove definitely has a little bit of like a slope this way to the stitching. So those are just like the small details you're looking at in terms of the quality. And again, just like the label with the 14 ounce being off, you know, one glove is higher. And then one thing you also notice is the 14 is towards the bottom of the piping. So the one starts closest to the bottom of the piping right there where it says 14. On this glove, it's the ounces that is closest to the piping, where the 14 is higher up, it's right above it. So again, just little details when it comes to the quality of the gloves. The weight distribution is really good. So you can see that whether I grab the bottom cuff or the top portion is distributed nicely, and that's because they put a good amount of wrist support. So in terms of balance, I think they did a really good job with that. Comfort-wise, sliding your hand to the glove. The gloves are very comfortable. I like that Tricot liner. You don't have any excess material. Wrist support is great. Thumb positioning is good as well. Nice opening at the base of the thumb to allow your thumb to breathe. Depth of the thumb is perfect, and you have about an inch of padding on the back of your thumb for support. When you make a fist, you'll notice that it does not pull on the attached thumb. It does its job by not allowing the thumb to flare out, but it doesn't pull down on it to where you feel like the tip of your thumb is going to jam. So I think they did a really nice job with that. And then a really nice deep finger compartment. You could definitely feel the grip bar. Not too wide and not too narrow. Yeah, but overall a very comfortable glove. I say that they're semi-broken in when you first get them. They're not super soft where you can open and close your hands right away. Nor are they extremely stiff. Now, one thing I was kind of afraid of is the fact that they use Skulltech padding, the gel in there. I thought maybe the gloves would be more stiffer when I initially got them, but that wasn't the case. I think that the gloves, I say right there in the middle in terms of the broken in feeling. But the more you use these gloves, they'll definitely soften up, and I feel like that's going to be able to give you that autonomy to be able to open and close your hands. But overall, the gloves are very comfortable on both the left and the right side, and they feel really good. So in terms of comfort, definitely a very comfortable glove that I feel the more you put your rounds in with these gloves, you won't feel like there's any type of pressure points or anything in the glove that's going to make you want to take them off. Protection and performance. This is definitely more on the protective side. Now, that was the key thing about this being a Skulltech glove, was how are they going to perform just compared to a standard layered foam glove or a layered foam with a horsehair combination. And the fact that they use a Skulltech, you could definitely feel that there's a level of shock absorbency with that extra gel padding. So for those of you that are looking for a glove, maybe you have some type of hand or knuckle soreness or hand injury, and you need to be able to use a glove that gives you more shock absorbency, like when you're landing on a really firm bag and it does a better job of dispersing that energy from you landing your punch. I definitely think this is a good choice because of, of that Skulltech gel. So I like the fact that they integrated that into the glove. The other thing that was a little confusing about this glove was that these are advertised, at least they're named a sparring glove, but they only come in 10 and 14 ounces. 10 you're not going to use for sparring. You might use it for like light technical work, but you'll never use 10 ounces for sparring unless you're like 50 pounds. 14, yes, you can for the lighter weights, but once you get up to a heavier weight, if you're like at 147 on up, you're going to use 16-ounce gloves. If you're a heavyweight, you're going to use probably 18 or higher. So it was a bit confusing that they went with 14 and 10 ounces for their weights. If they're advertising this as a sparring glove, I thought it would be more reasonable if they had like a 14 and a 16-ounce glove, or a 16 and an 18-ounce glove if you're going to advertise this as a sparring glove. So that's kind of where I was a little confused with, if you're going to say these are sparring gloves. Now, if these are just your standard training gloves, then yes, 14 and 10 by all means, that's a good weight. 10 ounces is perfect for those of you that really want that precise bag work. You want a really more compact glove that you can use to hit the bag with and do mitt work with your trainer. So that was kind of a little bit of a gray area when it came to that. But I definitely say that this glove is more on the protective end when it comes to that. You get a decent amount of feedback, but I'd say that Skulltech really does a really good job of dispersing the shock when you land your punch. Cost-wise, these gloves are $179.98. To be exact, if we round up, they're $180. I think that the gloves are priced decently. My big thing here is going to be the quality control. At $180, I like where they're going with this glove. I like the features. I like the Skulltech. I like the look of the glove. I like the fact that they use a good amount of wrist support. It doesn't feel flimsy throughout the wrist, and is a very comfortable glove with a Tricot liner on the inside. Nice grip bar where you can get a nice grip. The areas that I have concern with is just the quality. If you're going to be asking $180, you can't miss on little things like the 14-ounce weight tag being one too high on the other side and on their incorrect positioning, and the same thing with the logo on the back of the glove, and just kind of the shoddy workmanship when it comes to the stitching in certain parts of the glove. To me, those are things that should be really dialed in if you're going to ask that. Again, if they had this glove in terms of quality, like perfect, the stitching was on point, all the little details with the logos were all lined up, nice and symmetrical, and it just didn't feel so generic. I definitely feel, in terms of when I say generic, like the shape of the glove, it just feels like a standard Pakistan leather glove that you can find on eBay, then I would definitely say yes, it would be worth the shot of getting at $180, especially if you want a glove that is more protective and shock absorbent because of that gel padding. Maybe they'll, reduce the price. Maybe they'll come out with a more improved version, which I'm hoping for. Definitely can use different sizes, especially if you're looking at making this a sparring glove for those of you that are at a heavier weight at 16 ounces, maybe even more colorways. And I can definitely see these gloves being more successful in that regard. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know where to put them. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Fierce Reflex powered by Skulltech sparring gloves. And I will see you guys later. Peace.